Hey everybody, welcome back to the 6th round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, as always, back again, Eddie Mercado. Well,
I
the high-class show, Eddie, come on.
thought that was part of it.
We've been gone for like a month now, and that's how you bring us back in.
What better way?
Yeah, but yes, we are
Oh,
back
by
again.
the way, speaking of, did you pick Dan Hooker?
I did not.
For shame.
He blocked me. You know.
All the more reason to pick him. Obviously, he's he knows.
He's a hater. I can't do it.
Ah, so you just pick against him all the time now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, fair enough. It's
Yeah.
consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta stick to my principles.
A lot of people picked against him. Most people,
Yeah.
even.
I honestly just thought that he would. I thought that if he got, especially in a 3-round fight, that if Gamrot could get him down and get him behind early, by the time Hooker was able to pick up the fight late, he would already be too far behind to win it. That was my thought.
I just figured if Gamrot couldn't get the takedowns, he was going to get lumped up.
Well, sure, yeah,
or not get the takedowns, but keep the takedowns.
that
I knew he would get them, but I didn't just couldn't trust he could keep them.
that is a key that I overlooked in this with Gamrot, is that he does not hold people down. He is a take somebody down and go for it kind of guy who always assumes that he can rinse and repeat and get them down again. So, mea culpa. I did, however, pick Ryan Loder today, so feeling good about that pick.
Well done.
I also picked Con Ofley, so that was a terrible mistake, clearly.
I think I might have picked him too.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about this fight night card that we just witnessed. Although, first off, somebody did ask this question, and I want to once again, reiterate, Edmund Shabazian is my vindication that teenagers should not go pro. He went pro really young, and the flaws in his game are just like cooked into it to a shocking degree. So I will stand by that, even if that's not what the problem is. Maybe he clearly could have a whole other list of problems, but he does strike me as exactly the kind of A-level athlete who's operating at a B permanently because he started his career with Edmund Shabazian. Like, you want your future like top level pro getting all of their basic MMA knowledge from
Taverdian.
Edmund Taverdian,
yeah. And I think that's the real issue. I don't think it's the age, right? Like Robbie Lawler. Come on now.
Robbie Lawler is the exception that proves the rule. We all know and love Robbie Lawler.
I don't know, man. A lot of these older cats started when they were super. Max Holloway, like, I don't think it's the age. Raul Rosas, he's making waves.
Yeah, I kind of think Raul Rosas might end up being a cautionary tale, but
he could be.
Yeah, I think there are exceptions, of course, in any sport. There's always going to be exceptions, but I just think that there are a lot more early flame out fighters in that mold than there are huge successes. Anyway, let's get back to this card and what ended up being a pretty fun fight night card.
Overproducer.
I honestly was excited for it going in. The tough was clearly set to be a drag because I didn't care about it. But honestly, Michael Morales, Neil Magny, that was a well-booked fight. GM3, Edmund Shabazian, well-booked fight. Marshall, Bazookia, they're not the best fighters in the world, but they're always action forward. Vyacheslav Borshov. This was all set to be a fight card that I thought would be sneakily entertaining, and I'm glad that it was. It really lived up.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself, and I was a little worried as the night started because it started with a bang, like a real high, and then
Yeah.
a low, and then a high, and then kind
Yeah.
of a low, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
don't do this to me. But
No,
it shaped up real nice.
it did.
This is a fantastic card. I don't have many complaints.
Yeah. We do have a question right off. Is the main event a fight of the year contender? Um,
No.
yeah, not my gut reaction is no. I thought it was fun and entertaining, but also like the swings in momentum weren't huge. It was pretty great that Cannonier kept hanging tough and winning rounds back after dropping them, but it was definitely a fight where Cannonier, even at his biggest success, it was like, oh, okay, he's edging his way back into this fight and picking up, a few points here and there. But it's not like, oh man, now he's got Borralho on the ropes and Cannonier is moving in, he's taking over. The tone was really set early when Borralho cut Cannonier's lead leg down, and it was the whole rest of the night, even when he was doing well, was kind of Cannonier fighting his way back out of a hole.
Yeah, and if Cannonier would have produced some knockdowns in 2 of those rounds, then we can discuss it. But as someone said in the chat, I mean, Max versus Justin is just that's a shoe-in.
Yeah,
like it's going to be
any
really
year that has Max versus Justin, that's an amazing fight. And yeah, but this was fun. It was a good fight. It was well paced and really well put together. Kyle Borralho continues to just stick the needle in a little further for me with the whole fighting nerd thing.
I love it.
He's not a nerd. I don't care. No smart person would get those tattoos. That's the real evidence. And I'm not saying tattoos in general, clearly, although you can debate whether or not I'm a smart person. That's also fair.
But even knowing that there's some intelligence to even have that kind of self-awareness. So
sure, yeah, exactly. That's what I say. Yeah. But yeah, he. This is a fight. I think the outcome kind of played this out. So sort of my expectation going in is that you go back 2 or 3 years even, and this is a fight that Cannonier very well might have scraped out a victory. A little younger, a little more durable, a little closer to his prime, a little faster. But I think Cannonier is starting to hit a point where, because he's always had very even back and forth scrappy fights, always. But he's hitting a point now where he's the one giving up those big moments where he gets hurt, rather than the one creating those moments where, in a very tight fight, where he hurts his opponent.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, he's 40. Let's say that, right? Like he's no longer a spring chicken. So
exactly.
He's slowing down. His chin is not what it used to be. I think that's fair to say. But I think it's amazing that he's as old as he is and still competing at this level.
Yeah, I mean, shit, he's even a couple months older than me, so I can give the man nothing but props. I wanted to see him beat this nerd up.
He's so tough, man.
He is.
The way he defended, or not even defended, survived that arm triangle, and then that Von Flew there at the end. Like, I swear, not only me, but the referee even thought he went out a couple times. He checked on him, and he's just like, bink.
They zoom in and they're showing they had the camera right over his face as that's going on, and it's just like this everything puffy and just and he looked like he was about to die. So I can see why, because I'm looking at they're showing the camera angle from the ground, looking at him through the fence, and I'm like, why are you checking on him? That is not a good position to choke somebody in. It's not really. It's not even flattened out Von Flue territory. He's sort of like hunched over him with it, and the shoulders kind of like here. And it's like, why are you trying? And then they go to the top down. Like that man looks like a dead body. He looks like he just got dragged out of the river where he had drowned. Like,
oh, bless his heart.
Yeah.
Tough night. He could have, honestly, the ref could have stopped it when he dropped.
Yeah.
Like that was a crazy knockdown. Like almost it was there was a little delay there from that 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think, Kaio making a point to stand in this fight, I think was a really, really good sign.
Yeah, he still seems like a slightly tense and jittery striker to me. He's kind of got this. Yeah, he's really tense. He just kind of steps into something really fast and then is back out, and it always doesn't. It doesn't feel smooth really with him, but he has incredible timing. Really, really knows how and when to pick his shots. Can't say a bad word about that. The dude is clearly dialed in at a pretty high level with when to throw what. He was landing those step up knees like perfectly when Cannonier would come forward, finding just the right times to throw the 1-2, just the right times to throw the calf kick where they do the most damage. It only took like 2 of them for Cannonier to suddenly have to switch legs.
No, and that jab was so jousting and really a disruptor. I think that's the unsung hero of this matchup for him, I think, is his jab. Well, maybe his footwork, but his jab offensively, like that, he stayed with it, and maybe the leg kicks as well. Because anytime he got away from those leg kicks, that would let Cannonier back into it. But when he was staying with them, that was making Cannonier back up.
Definitely a fight where 2 guys are both much better going forward than backward. So the moment either of them could establish position, they had a lot more success. And yeah, but it was a really fun, good back and forth fight. Good performance from Borralho, honestly, because this is also, it's worth noting, this is a huge step up for him. Like, this is a man whose best win of his career to date. I mean, I'm biased because I kind of like it. I would Michael Aleksajic, because I know, Paul Craig was his ranked win to date, but Paul Craig at middleweight doesn't do anything for me at middleweight. I don't really.
I guess maybe Abus.
Yeah, it's not great. No matter how you look at it, it's not like he hasn't faced any obvious really top quality fighter. So to go from Paul Craig to Jared Cannonier, gigantic step up. So,
you know why? Do you know why this fight was booked?
Illuminate me.
Because Kaio called for it.
Yeah,
he asked for this after his last fight. He said he wanted because at first he was calling out Drickus.
Yeah, which
and it was like, you know what? Yeah. What a waste of a call out. Let me go ahead and call out something I might actually get. And he caught Cannonier, right place, right time.
Mm-hmm.
And man, now he's maybe top 5 now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he did pick just the right time to catch Cannonier, which is coming off a loss and wanting to bounce right back and get right back in the cage. And it's like,
a controversial loss at that.
Yeah. It's like, here's a ranked opponent calling you out suddenly. And so he took it. He took a fight down in the division, and it was it was a great opportunity for Borralho, and he made the most of it.
Yeah, so maybe he is a smart nerd. Maybe
I'm not buying it. Somebody else mentioned, wasn't he a chemistry teacher in our chat? He tutored like high schoolers in chemistry at some point, which, credit to him, but like, that's not being a teacher. Like, anybody willing to step up can be a tutor. Look, You're just never gonna sell me on his nerd cred. It's just not gonna happen. Unless, of course, it is just that, like, we mentioned this on the Vivi, that maybe I'm coming at it from the wrong position, and that, like, Brazil is just a country of beautiful beach body people. So for Brazil standards, he is a nerd. Like, that's what a Brazilian nerd looks like. Is this absurdly jacked, like, no fear tattoo wearing, like, Ed Hardy bro is like, oh yeah, no, that's the nerd.
Could be.
Could be. Anyway,
either way, I love it. It's very middleweight. It's he's making all the right moves to get to where he wants to be. He'll be fighting for a title soon if he keeps this up.
He will. He called out Dricus. I don't think he'll get that fight. Well, actually, it depends. He called out Dricus at a very good time, honestly.
Yeah.
This laying into the, getting into the maybe smart, actually. He did call this out at just the right time, because Sean Strickland is claiming that he won't fight in South Africa. He won't take a title fight.
Bullshit. Which I don't believe that.
I don't believe it either. But it could be just enough for the UFC to go, okay, well, we've got somebody else then, and just say, get out of here.
Yeah, but you can't hop over the winner of Whitaker Hamzat.
But that's a fight that hasn't happened yet. If the winner of that fight comes out injured, then they might not be in position to take a title fight.
You also have Brendan Allen. I think he's fighting Imavov.
Brendan Allen is nowhere close. He
No. I'm saying, like, Brendan Allen versus Imavov. The winner fights Kaio.
Yeah, that would be a good fight. That would be a good fight. You could also punish Sean Strickland and do Sean Strickland versus.
He wouldn't take it.
He wouldn't take it. I know.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, I think right now you're looking at the winner of Allen Imavov winner versus Borralho. That seems like the right pick. Vittori's coming off a loss. It's not a fight that Adesanya would want, I would assume.
They could absolutely do Robert Whitaker, win or lose his Hamzat fight.
They could, but I think Duplessis seems to want to fight Whitaker again, so the winner of that is probably going to be gunning for a title shot as well.
And honestly, I think Whitaker's going to end up getting darsed by Hamzat if that fight actually happens. So we might actually get Whitaker and Kaio.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hamzat goes and fights for the belt.
Could be.
If it happens. There's a lot of ifs. And
anyway, that's all further down the road. For now, Kaio's just got a big win that puts him in the mix. This is the mix. And let's jump down to this women's strawweight bout, Tabitha Ricci, Angela Hill. And I am really liking what Ricci is doing, honestly.
Nah, she looked great tonight.
Yeah. This also needs mentioning. Somebody else in our chat here asking, do we see that Angela Hill robbery? You are on meth, sir. I am sorry, but I don't know how Angela Hill gets robbed in a fight that she clearly lost. It
was a close fight. I think the second round was close enough to where if you gave it to Hill, fine.
I can see an argument that it's a split. It's the exact kind of split win or split fight that Hill tends to lose. But Ricci was landing most of the bigger shots in the first two rounds, and that's really all it takes. Like, Hill just did not have any snap on her punches, and she was being forced to fight off the back foot and taking a lot of snap off of her punches for it. And
honestly, I think the biggest issue here was just Ricci's ability to thrive in the clinch, and that's where Hill does some of her best work. So if you can take that away from her, which is hard to do, I mean, you leave her kind of one dimensional.
Yeah.
You know, she's forced to stand at range, and if you take that away from her, now she's being defensive in the clinch, and it's Ricci's the one landing the knees to the body and pushing the pace and winning the control time.
Yeah, no. I don't. You can't. People are arguing that you can judge a fight like this just by counting strikes, and I don't see it. Ricci was putting a lot more on her strikes than Hill was for the majority of this fight, and yeah, Hill won round 3. She started to pick it up late in round 2, but that's just the classic Hill thing to do. Is she stays in the fight when somebody else starts to fade, but she always has trouble with bullying physical fighters. And
I think the people crying robbery might be the ones that took the Minty Betts advice.
Yeah.
Hill at plus money.
Yeah, don't bet on what the UFC tells you to bet. Come on, kids.
Yeah.
Anyway,
do your own research. Listen to what Zane says.
That's right. Listen to me.
Take his betting advice.
That's right. I don't gamble, and so I only give the best advice. Anyway, yeah, it was a great win for Ricci, and she's now in the top 10, and I don't know what's next. Unfortunately, she's hit kind of a moment where there aren't a lot of obvious fights above her. She's already fought Lupe Godinez to a loss herself. And Mackenzie Dern is booked against Amanda Hebush. Amanda Lemos.
How did that get booked so quickly?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Dern just fought.
Yep. So, yeah, there's like an Amanda Lemos fight that they could do, winner loser, for Ricci. That might be a pretty good spot. Or Jessica Andrade is fighting Natalia Silva, but the winner of that is probably going to be trying to gun for bigger opportunities. So,
what's Jillian Robertson doing?
She is now booked to fight Luana Pinheiro. You know what? Winner of that fight against Tabitha Ricci. Well, Tabitha Ricci already beat Jillian Robertson, so we don't need to do that again.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I'd say probably the Dern Hebush winner, or Marina Rodriguez is also fighting Yasmin Lucindo, so she's just gonna have to wait for another fight to happen, I think, before that happens, before there's an obvious fight for her. All right, let's get to the tough season. I did not watch any of the season. I went through and watched the fights afterward, but these were pretty good finale performances, I gotta say, honestly. For a show nobody watches anymore.
This is vintage here. This is like a Matt Hughes performance.
Yeah.
Like my guy's getting the mounted crucifix TKO. What?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people were picking Valentin going into this.
I picked Valentin as well. Because it's a coin flip here. Like, well, neither of them have ever fought anyone ever. So it's like,
sure. Yeah. But at the same time, you've got Valentin on one side, who's a stand tall, wavy arm, punch guy who likes to fight off his back, and he's fighting a wrestler. And I'm just like, I'm not picking I don't care how aggressive his jiu-jitsu is. I'm not picking the guy who does not have a wrestling game and is willing to fight from guard over a guy who just wrestles nonstop.
I mean, he almost caught that rear naked choke.
He did almost catch it. But I was surprised how many people were picking Valentin based off of, I don't know, his aggression with a lack of wrestling game. Anyway,
I guess I figured Loder would have wrestled himself into getting submitted, and he almost did.
He almost did, but I was surprised it was just such a consensus pick. Like everywhere I saw, Everyone was picking Palatine.
Mm.
Anyway, solid win for Loader. I don't really know what having a 33-year-old.
31? Is he 33?
33.
33, yeah.
A 33-year-old tough newcomer, tough winner who mostly just has a wrestling game does for the middleweight division, but they put a whole season of TV to get together to get it, so I don't know. Anyway, that brings us to the much more interesting tough finale, which is Myron Santos against Con Ofley. And I definitely did not rate Santos at all from his tough performances. Seemed like a guy who just runs himself had good power and physicality, but ran himself into the clinch constantly. And I thought, okay, well, Ofley's a grinder, kind of boring, but if he can force Santos to clinch up with him and put him on the cage and pull him down and just turn this into a grind, he can probably win it. And then I saw him in the cage. There's a moment early where Ofley clinches up, and I'm just like, man, Santos's back is like twice the size of Ofley. That's a huge problem. And yeah, Santos is he's a ridiculously powerful kid. Clearly,
super explosive.
Yeah,
he knows what to throw, when to throw it. Those calf kicks, ugh.
Yeah,
those are brutal. Those are absolutely brutal, and he stuck with them. Like he never got away from them. And that left hook, good God, that was awfully nice.
And then the two you had post
yes, that was like street fight knockout.
Yeah,
like give me my money back.
Somebody mentioned it. Like they couldn't remember the last time that a tough finale winner had like a real awesome highlight in a finale fight. And yeah, this does kind of feel like the first time in a long time where it's like, oh man, I'm excited to see that dude fight again who came off tough.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just from the finale. Like I have been impressed by Pooh Bear. What was his?
Yeah, Brian Battle.
I've been impressed by Brian Battle, but off the tough finale alone, I was like, I don't get it with this guy. This is not doing anything for me.
No, that's fair. Because he doesn't have the charisma that goes along. He doesn't have like his fighting style, his record, like the violence that he produces.
Yeah,
like, you would never assume that came from him.
No.
So like I can see that.
Yeah, he snuck up on me over time.
But to your point though, Santos definitely seems special.
Yeah.
Loader, right?
Yeah, but Santos, he's only got a wrestling game. I'm not excited. Santos does seem like he's somebody that he can stick around and make an impact at featherweight. So I like that. That was cool. I didn't expect it. Like I said, I watched them on Tough, and it's an environment where you don't get any real coaching on Tough. You know, you get a fighter coming in who themselves, fighters have coaches. Some of them can be coaches. Many of them not coaches. You get a fighter to come in and be like, oh, I train like this. And they put you through 3 fights in a month with like a week of prep each time. And you're never gonna look that great on Tough, is my feeling. So I'm not surprised that his Tough footage didn't end up looking like much, and coming out of it that he looks like a much more dynamic and well put together fighter in the UFC.
That's kind of always been the knock on Tough. It's like you never really get to see the full. Yeah. It favors the short notice guys.
It favors the guys like Loader, who they just have a wrestling game that they can lean on, and that they know how to wrestle really well, and they can go to it every time.
Yeah.
Somebody did note we got a question: how much longer is Tough going to last? And it'll last as long as Dana White is in the control of the UFC. It is his baby. It is his brain. I mean, because they already canceled the damn thing, and he made them bring it back. And they didn't bring it back because the ratings were somehow good. They put Conor McGregor on it, and nobody still watched it. Like,
I think that the correct answer is as long as they can get a publishing deal.
Yeah,
as long as they have somewhere to air it, they'll keep doing it.
Yeah, and if ESPN dropped it, they'll move that thing over to the like conservative YouTube whatever thing they put Power Slap on.
Oh yeah, anywhere.
Yeah,
it'll be on Fight Pass. It'll be, I mean,
they're not going to get rid of Tough until Dana White is dead in the ground because it is his brainchild. It is the Rumble. Somebody mentioned Rumble.
You know what? Not only is Tough going to stick around, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Power Slap version of Tough.
There already is one.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
They already put all these dudes in a house together and like pre-record it and all that.
Damn. Yeah. I wish I would have known this. We could have sold drugs to these people.
There you go. Yeah, you missed a whole avenue. All right. That brings us to a welterweight bout. Michael Morales, Neil Magny, and this is...
Hold on real quick. It should be noted that I blocked Power Slap on all platforms, so I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, you don't know. Eddie doesn't. He doesn't.
And I don't block anybody. There's like the only person I've ever blocked.
You just had to at some point.
It just grosses me out.
Yep. All right. That brings us to a welterweight bout. Michael Morales, Neil Magny. And, man, honestly, this is... I picked Morales to win, but this is a hell of a performance from Michael Morales. Like,
yeah, this is what I wanted to see. Mm-hmm. Because in the back of my mind, of course, I picked him. Everybody did. But in the back of my mind, I was like, but what if Neil does get him down and he can't get back up? He might get submitted. Because we've seen him get stalled out before in fights. Yeah. Yes, he came back and knocked him out, but the way he got out of the peril in this fight was insane.
Yes.
Like he's getting clinch fucked the whole time and he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna spinning elbow out of this. And like instant momentum shift.
Yeah.
Instant. And then he followed Magny to the ground, which I thought was ballsy. Like, damn. Like this was another guy that instantly gets catapulted into the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
So much fun.
Yeah, I mean, his physicality has always been a key asset for him, and this was a good sign that his physicality really is something that can carry him to the top of the division. Because Magny is that dude where, yeah, sure, he's lost to Shavkat and Gilbert Burns and Ian Gary, but he's also beaten Mike Malott and Phil Rowe and D-Rod.
Yeah. He's the ultimate fraud check.
Yep. And even Jeff Neal. And so, like, he beats, he can beat a lot of good guys. And he can especially beat a lot of good guys if he can drag you into clinching with him, if he can put you on the cage. Magny tends to take those fights over. So, for him to come back and for Morales to be able to come away from those clinch exchanges and those takedowns and just put Magny on notice with his power, that's a really good sign that he really does have top end power. Because it also has to be said, like, last time Neil Magny got even TKO'd or knocked out in any way was 2018 Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Wow.
Like,
Morales is the truth, man.
Yeah.
He's on his way to a title shot.
Yeah.
He is on his way. I'm still not sold that on his anti-grappling.
I mean, every part of his game just seems kind of weird and chancy. Like he,
well, he's got that middleweight style, that light heavyweight style to him.
Yeah. It's just like he has a really snappy, nice 1-2. Does he lean on his boxing easily, even in a fight against Neil Magny or something like that? No, like he lets himself get backed up. He lets himself get clinched up. He was able to get up really easily, but he also got taken down pretty easily. Like, it's just not. There's as many good things with Morales, there seem to be bad things too, but that's also kind of the thing that you get with somebody who's just an insane natural athlete. They often don't have to put all the pieces of their game together to be a really good fighter.
I need to see him fight JDM. I need to see that fight.
Yeah.
There's so many great fights for him in this, like, up in the rankings.
Let's see. Who's in the bottom? JDM would be fun.
So you got Buckley and Thompson are about to fight. The winner of that would be cool.
Yeah, Buckley and Tom. I would love to see, especially like Joaquin Buckley, Michael Morales would be a great fight.
In 2 weeks, we got Sean Brady and Gilbert Burns. Winner of that would be insane. That would be nuts. Ian Gary's interesting.
Yeah, and even honestly, could even do him versus Michael Page. I'd watch that. You know, Page is a weird fight. He's a weird fighter to face. So.
Page is just boring. He can make anyone boring.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just interested. I like what I see out of Morales. So any fight he gets next, I think the Buckley Thompson winner would be great. Neal is booked to fight RDA. And if he beats RDA, which he should, then yeah, that works too. Jeff Neal, that'd be fun. And man, I think the idea of Vicente Luque is still out there against Nick Diaz, and that just depresses me to no end. Right?
Yeah, that's insane.
I don't even want to talk about that.
But on the same token, if Luque did take a dive against Buckley, maybe he'll take one against Diaz. Allegedly.
No. Not taking dives. It's not happening. All right. That brings us to a middleweight fight, and goddamn boy was it. Gerald Meerschaert, Edmund Shabazian. And we talked about this so much on the Vivi this week because it played out the exact way. You could not write this any clearer than how it played out, which is that Edmund Shabazian has one round to knock out Gerald Meerschaert before his confidence evaporates like fog. And then all Gerald Meerschaert needs is one really good moment to get Shabazian to the mat, and he will make him quit. And like, because Meerschaert is a fighter who he is really great at staying calm and collected and picking out his moment late in a fight, just getting somebody at the point where they think they should have already beat him and wrapping them up in something. And Shabazian, like, it's in the bones. Like, I don't know if there's any fixing that guy. He's at a different camp now. He's had a couple of fights with them. It's Nixick and Extreme Couture these days, I believe. And, like, they seem, even if they're not the best technical camp for putting all the technique together, they're at least a camp that they tend to be very like a calming camp that can get fighters to kind of stick to a game plan and fight smart. And there's that moment at the beginning of round 2 where Shabazian is just beating on Meerschaert, has him, or is it early round 2 or was it?
No. He dropped him. Remember he hurt him with that body shot?
I just couldn't remember for a second. It was late in round 1, but yeah, in round 2 where he's just beating on Meerschaert, and I just am watching this thinking he's gonna lose. Like, he is on top of him, hammering his head into the canvas, and all I can think of is this is the end for him.
Yeah.
Like,
but GM3 was this close to getting finished.
Oh yeah.
The referee was like, "I'm gonna stop it," and then he would move. "I'm gonna stop it," and he would move. Credit to GM3, man.
He is that
OG.
veteran. Yeah. He is that veteran. He knows how not to get finished. He knows what the ref wants to see. It's not active, smart defense. It is, are you still engaged in the fight? Are you moving around? Are you trying to get away? That's what the ref wants to see. And it just, Shabazian, like,
he has no FIQ. Shabazian.
I just think he doesn't like fighting.
I think he gets tired easily, and then he doesn't like fighting. When the fight gets hard, he no longer likes
which is
fighting.
what I mean about he doesn't like fighting. Because, like, there are dudes out there who, you watch that fight, like Loder Valentin, you watch that fight. Those are two dudes who clearly like to fight.
Yeah.
They get in terrible positions. Loder is like getting choked and he's trying to punch the dude in the head, flattened out on his stomach. That's a terrible idea. Like, what are you doing? And
it
Valentin,
worked, though.
Yeah. And like Valentin is just rolling, he was trapped in that crucifix for like 2 minutes, just kicking for dear life, trying to get out of that. Everything he could do. You see Shabazian get caught in that arm triangle, like even just put on his back even, and you could just see the anguish in his face. Like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. I screwed up. This sucks. And it's like at the moment you're thinking that, the fight's over.
I think he blew his wad trying to get that finish.
Yeah, and if it were just that one time or something, I'd be like, oh yeah, well maybe he just got tired this time. But this has happened to him like 10 times now. He's just that dude. It sucks because like he's clearly a talent. You watch him when he's got a fight and control in front of him. He's only 26 too. You watch him when he's got a fight and control in front of him, and he looks like he could be a top 5 fighter. But man, when the going gets tough,
yeah, he's just I don't know.
Yeah,
he's weird.
It's
a weird case.
He's a very weird case. For GM3 though, he's gonna fight anybody on any day, so it's not even really that much point in like trying to pick out the next Gerald Meerschaert fight. But he's now has the record for most finishes in UFC middleweight history. He took over from Anderson Silva.
Yeah, that's wild. Good on him. Shout out to Meerschaert.
Yeah, where is he in this division?
He's like either fighting like a noob or Meerschaert's all over the place.
Yeah, I just saw Gregory Rodriguez pop up. Yeah, that doesn't feel fair or nice.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Zane.
What about Rodolfo Vieira, though?
Yeah.
I like that fight.
I'm all for, like, anyone who has any kind of cardio issues, they should have to fight GM3.
Apparently, he called out Paul Craig, which I'd forgotten, and I do not care. I do not, you know what? It's fine. It would be fun. I do not want to see. I don't care about Paul Craig at middleweight. I just don't care. I'm sorry. I tried caring.
That's a great fight.
It is a great fight, but I don't care about Paul Craig at middleweight. So if he wants it, he can have it, but it won't be because I want it. And that's what we're here for. It's me and what I want.
It's a great call out. Great fight.
Yeah.
It'll be a show for sure.
All right. Now we get to a lightweight bout. Francis Marshall, Dennis Buzukja. And man, this is a great fight for Marshall, honestly.
Oh, it was a great fight for both of them.
Yeah, I'm just saying for Marshall because he took this fight on like 3 days' notice,
Yeah, in a bad spot too. Coming off of 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, his back was to the wall. He
showed up. And apparently I think this might have been the last fight on his contract. I think after the fight he was saying like, I hope they re-sign me. If they re-sign me, I want this fight or whatever. So
no, this is great. This is absolutely great.
I picked Marshall going in, so I have the extra catharsis.
Fair.
This was my smart pick of the week.
Well, Loder too was a really good pick.
Loder was a good pick, but Marshall was a chancy one. Buzukja just has this problem, and the booth couldn't figure out that he does this all the time. The man just does not like to lead. He is way too willing to be on the back foot and try to fight out of the counter. And Marshall is a pure come forward pressure fighter. So I was just like, I'm going with Marshall. If he comes out and he fights hard and if his cardio isn't shit, he can win this fight. And he did. He went for it, and he did exactly the right thing coming on short notice too, which is to just go super hard for the first, just from the opening bell. Whatever your cardio is, whatever your fitness is, burn it right away. Because if you try to slow play it, like, oh, it's like you didn't have the camp. You're not going to be in shape no matter what. You're not going to be there. You're not going to have that cardio in round 3 no matter how slow you go. So go hard and go after it. And that's what he did. And it paid off.
Yeah, but, I mean, he did let Bazooka back into it.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was going to slow down no matter what, 3 days notice. Like, if you didn't knock him out, you're going to slow. And he almost knocked him out.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't. I don't know how guys survived that. That was nasty.
It was. This was a terribly scored fight, I will say, too. We had a Marshall 30-27. Man clearly lost round 3. And a Bazooka 29-28, which I can almost understand, but he got dropped hard in that second round.
I can see a judge forgetting about that.
I can see a judge
because it happened so early, and Bazooka's run was so late in that round, like his rally. So I can see someone getting caught up in the end of the round and be like, "Oh, he won that."
His corner definitely did. Aljo yelling at him in round 3 to shoot the takedown. It's like, he needs a finish, man. You're losing this fight. They thought that they were ahead.
Aljo screaming to shoot the takedown.
I know.
Still. To a hammer, every problem looks like a nail.
It's true. It's true. But I was impressed with Marshall in this fight. He showed up. He put on a great performance. And Bazooka, he went, he fought his way back into it, but he's got to start taking a look at his tendency to fight off the back foot so much and to let opponents push him around and dictate the pace. Because he can't, this guy came in on 3 days notice off 2 losses. This was your moment to prove that you're not going to get bullied by somebody.
Yeah. He's got to work on his command for sure.
Yeah.
But I am proud of him for rallying and getting back into the fight.
Sure. Fair enough. All right. That brings us to Zach Reese and Jose Medina. And, man, like, just last week, or just this week, the UFC ran another episode of Dana White's Contender Series, and they had a repeat guy on. Can't remember his name right now. Tenny. I want to say
on this past one.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, let me find it really quick here. And Torres Finney. There we go. Torres Finney. And he got a tough, grinding decision over Cam Rouston. And Dana White did this whole big thing about he's terrible. That was terrible. This is a terrible fight. He needs a bunch more wins to get in the UFC. I'm not signing him. All this stuff. When I bring this up as preamble, because the way they're doing Contender Series is that they're signing literally everybody that wins. And any winner they don't sign, they pretty much have to make that number up with a guy that loses later on. It is pure quota filling. And there's no greater evidence of this system than Jose Medina, because Jose Medina is terrible. And there is no sense that he should be in the UFC, except that he can take more punches than any other man on the planet and not get knocked out. But he lost on the Contender Series. And like, no, we want that. And it's just,
well, you gotta take a look at the classic example of one Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
This is a Homer Simpson for sure. However, For anyone out there who recognized the toughness and bet the over,
Yeah, there you go.
muy bien.
Yeah, it was all learning experience for Zach Reese. Really, honestly, this was like if you have a young fighter like Zach Reese who's pretty limited in his experience, has never been out of round one, this is the fight you hope to get that fighter. This is the guy that's just going to teach you, okay, not everybody goes away right away. What are you going to do? What does your game look like in rounds 2 and 3? You've got a plan for that. And honestly, he did okay. Like, yeah, he had the cardio meltdown that everybody could see coming from just teeing off on Medina for 5 minutes straight. They can't believe he did not get a 10-8 round. Probably the biggest judging malfeasance on this whole card is that nobody gave Zach Reese a 10-8 round one.
I gave him a 10-8.
Yeah, I did too.
That's pretty
that's pretty egregious. He just beat on that. Like, okay, I don't want to use stats to score rounds. We already went over this, but Zach Reese outlanded Medina 34-4 in round 1 of that fight.
Plus the body kicks, plus the huge ground and pound, plus the guillotine to sweep.
That's nearly a 10-1 margin in significant strikes.
With damage.
Yes,
with
damage. It is insane that he did not get a 10-8 for that. And yeah, I don't like the UFC. They have 700 fighters. They need to stop signing these guys. It's just, if he ever gets one win in the UFC, that will be an amazing achievement for his whole career, and we should all applaud it, because the man he's severely outmatched. He is a shining example of every couch warrior that believes if I trained hard enough, I could be in there. Like, no,
except he's got the toughness for it. Not everybody. Most don't.
Yeah, most don't. Most don't. It's true. That is what is bringing him this far, is the toughness. But
like, he legit just went 3 rounds with one of the most lethal guys on the come up. Like, that's damn impressive. But again, we're just talking about his toughness.
That is, he's got heart. Even when Reese gassed totally, Medina still did not have any of the form anywhere to continuously hurt him, to stay on him.
His taunts were nice.
His taunts were nice. It's a quality taunter. I will say that. It's like D+ everywhere, taunting A+. Anyway.
Durability, a 10. Taunting, a 10. Everything else.
It's a pure min-max build for our D&D freaks out there. Like, they went all stats in durability and in taunting, and no other stats anywhere else. This is the most annoying member of your D&D party. Who is unkillable.
Mokayev is no longer in the UFC.
You got to make room for the cream.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to a lightweight bout: Vyacheslav Borshov, James Yontop. And yeah, it was a fun fight. It did
100%.
feel to me like Borshov is just one of those dudes who seems to often fight down to the level of his opposition. It's like, you're twice as fast as this guy. You should just be styling on him nonstop. And instead, you're in like a nail biter war.
I think you have to credit Yontop's toughness, like the chin on that guy. He ate some flush ass shots, and they didn't even seem to phase him. So, I mean, he's just got that kind of toughness.
Yeah.
Borshov tried. I mean, he was landing flush. The guy was damn tough.
Yeah.
Not everyone goes away.
Yeah. Although it did make me a little facepalm me when Bisping was talking about how like fighters should learn defense from Vyacheslav Borshov. It's just like, dude is getting hit every single exchange. What are you talking about, man? Like, the quality of strikes were all in Borshov's favor. I thought it should have been. I can't believe it was a split. It should have been pretty clearly scored for him if you're just looking at actual quality of the striking on display. It was very clearly in his favor, but it was all 50-50 exchanges. So, fun fight. Sloppy
it was a lot of
fun fight. Yeah.
And we ended up getting that little dance.
Yes.
Which is why I'm here. I'm here
for a commanded dance. It's very like a dance monkey dance moment from Bisping. It's like, 100%. We didn't get the dance. And he's like, no, you've got to dance.
And he did it. He obliged, yes, even though he ate a ton of leg kicks. He probably can barely walk.
Yeah, no kidding.
Poor guy. Slava Claus, though, man. He's so much fun.
He is always fun. He is always fun. Fights to his level of opposition a bit more than I'd like, but that always makes you fun. Like, if you're a dude who is going to go in there and go to war with everyone, I'm going to enjoy myself watching you. All right. That brings us to a women's bantamweight bout. Jacqueline Cavalcanti, Josiane Nunez, and this was a pretty good look from Cavalcanti, honestly, I thought. Like, I mean, it's not great. She could have maybe taken Nunez down or something else, but she's pretty clearly fairly inexperienced, and just staying on her bike and outpointing her from range with somebody like Nunez who just wants to brawl in the pocket. That's more than I expected out of her.
I thought she did really well in this stylistic matchup, being the matador, keeping the fight in front of her, commanding the octagon. Yeah, throwing lots of feints. I think she did really well at just being the better fighter and handling the pressure.
Yeah, it's more than I expected out of her in this fight, I'll say. I thought she was going to let Nunez in and just swing on her, honestly.
Did you pick Nunez?
Yes, I did.
Ooh.
Look, it's women's bantamweight.
Yeah, but like it's women's bantamweight, but Nunez is like 5'2" or something.
I know. I didn't pick Nunez against Chelsea Chandler because I knew Chelsea Chandler would just fall on her. And I was like, Cavalcanti's not going to fall on her. So is she going to stop her from going forward? Probably not. I'll pick Nunez.
Yeah, Cavalcanti, she did look good out there.
Yeah.
She just kind of lacks power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will say, the way she incorporated that uppercut in the third, I thought was really nice.
Yeah.
Because Nunez came out so aggressive, but that uppercut really backed it off and got her some respect. So
Cavalcanti looks to me like a fighter learning on the job. So I'm impressed. If you're gonna, show up and like stick to a style, stick to form, then I'm not gonna be too hard on you, basically.
Just the low power is a buzzkill.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not a thrill. I'm not like hyped for her future as a prospect, but
it was a technically sound showing.
Yes, in a division where Chelsea Chandler got ranked without ever being able to make weight. Yeah, I am excited that Cavalcanti showed up and actually like cut some angles.
How the fuck was this a split decision?
I don't know.
What?
Somebody gave it a 30-27 for Nunez.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Nah. What?
Yeah.
No, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Nah. No, it was 29-28, 28-29, and 30-27.
No, it's 29-28, 29-28, 27-30.
What?
It was John McCarthy's kid.
He should be flogged.
Although, actually, I'm looking. Somebody, apparently it was D'Amato had it 30-27 Cavalcanti. So maybe they read the scores wrong initially. So it was 30-27 Cavalcanti, 29-28 Cavalcanti, and then 27-30 for McCarthy.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even worse.
He gave, it's one thing I can see giving. I gave Leonardo, I gave not Leonardo, Nunez. I gave Nunez a round.
I gave her the third.
Yeah, I gave her the third. she finally started putting it all together there, but 3 rounds? No. All right. That brings us finally to the fight that I was most looking forward to, honestly. Kong Wong against Victoria Leonardo. And I'm just excited because I think Kong Wong I thought she was the best flyweight yet to fight in the UFC out there. So this is, to me, just a question of how big can she show up in this fight? How much can she show off? And she did she did everything she needed to.
Yeah, now it's on the UFC to give her just the right matchups to get her to that Shevchenko fight.
Yep.
As soon as possible. Like within 3 fights.
Yeah, exactly.
The Alex Pereira Izzy situation.
Yes. And of course, as somebody noted, Val's not champ, but Val's fighting for the title again in a week or in
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
No, more than that.
Yeah. Not 2 weeks. In 3 weeks. There we go. She's fighting for the belt again in 3 weeks. She might be champ. And you got to get her to even if she's not champ, you got to get her to that fight. And she's got the size and she's got the striking skill to make a run in that division. And the thing that I really enjoy watching her, and I enjoyed watching her on the regionals, and I enjoy seeing in the UFC, is I think she's just a really cruel and vicious person. And so all of her fights are going to be really fun.
Yeah. This was a brutal knockout.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Like UFC, they did Leonardo so dirty, setting her up in this fight.
It's the Hurt Business, man.
I know. I just always feel like whenever the UFC actually has like a fatted calf, so to speak, in the roster, where it's like you're only here for us to showcase, like to get absolutely toasted by other fighters. I have to wonder how that fighter thinks about that. Like, do they know?
Go ask Medina.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this was great and real promising. And she called out Casey O'Neill.
Great call out.
Right?
Yep.
Get her right there. Boom. O'Neill.
Yep.
Maybe one more, someone else in the ranking.
O'Neill is not a good wrestler and loves to throw volume and try to step in and walk into the pocket all the time. Perfect call out.
Yeah. This is exciting. This is probably the most exciting thing to happen to the division in a long time.
Yeah. No, great pickup. Great work from the UFC. I slag their scouting all the time, but they did a great job getting her on road to UFC and only having her have one fight and then jumping her right into the division. So, I like it. What can I say? All told, yeah, pretty decent night of fights, honestly.
Way better than they should have been. Yep. Way better. Weird judging,
but all the decisions were mostly fun scraps. It was only really Cavalcanti Nunes that was a real stinker. Even Reese Medina was sloppy, but it was fun. So yeah, walk away feeling good. On that note, for those of you who are not subscribers, I should have put a link in the video below. I've done it for the other old videos to the MMA Vivisection 6-round Substack. That's where you can support our show. Sign up. We do bonus content for every episode, and that's where you also get the Vivisection every week with lots of bonus content there as well. Otherwise, you can find Eddie on Twitter at the Eddie Mercado. You can find me on Twitter at the Zane Simon. And you can find Eddie on YouTube at the Eddie Mercado. And you can find me over on my personal Substack, zanesimon.substack.com. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll be back with a little bit of bonus content for our subscribers for the show that drops on our podcast feeds. So tune in for that. Adios, everyone.
I got to do it going out, too.